Hello, everybody. Oh boy, this is supposed to be a break, and I've come back and on the break, and I'm doing a series. But um, emotional abuse is just one of the things that I'm really an advocate about. You know how I am. Everybody knows I've written many articles on emotional abuse and narcissistic personality disorder, and I talk about it quite a bit. I've shared my own story and everything, just because I want so many people to know what this is. It's so kind of kind of non-existent in the abuse world, and people don't really know what it is. They think they know what it is, but they really don't, and stuff. And they think it has to do something with verbal abuse or something like that, which is a form of emotional abuse. But emotional abuse can be so subtle. And I'm doing a new series called Know Your Emotional Abuser. And I'm going to talk about the different types of emotional abuse in more detail. I want people to know what they are in more detail. I'm a true believer that, the more information you get, the better you are to be able to defend yourself and to make sure that you're not taken in by a man, or woman in any case, that is an emotional abuser, and stuff. And I know there are so many people out there who are emotional abusers, and stuff. So I don't want any woman, particularly black women who have already, in many cases, been emotionally abused by family members and a community and everything, to end up with some man that's an emotional abuser. You don't need that. You don't deserve that. And, you want someone who's going to treat you well, and stuff. So today, uh, my first part of this series is going to be about a form of emotional abuse that I personally I say love, not in a way that means that I would love for people to do this to me. I say it in a way because I find it a fascinating form of emotional abuse. I find it so subtle, and that you will not, unless you know what it is, you will not know it's happening to you. It's so just kind of diabolical, and it's so malevolent, and so malicious. It is, and done with intent. It's not done accidentally. It's done with absolute intent. And so it's scary in that way because it's done with intent. It's not accidentally done. People don't do it. It's done with intent. The intent is to confuse you. And I'm talking about gaslighting. And the reason I'm talking about gaslighting is because yesterday I was on Beyond Black and White, and I'm a moderator over there. And there was a gentleman over there, and there was a conversation going on. A man, non-black man, wrote an article about being an alpha male. It was called "Be the Writer," and he wrote an article about being an alpha male. And there were a couple of black men that had come in there to kind of, chunk his theory on what alpha was, and that really wasn't alpha, that that was really beta, and blah blah blah, and try to let the sky is, it's daytime but it's night, and I mean, just, everything's up, everything that's up is actually down. Try to convince us. And yesterday a gentleman came over, well, I use that term loosely, and tried to convince us that he really wasn't an alpha, and this was just a beta, and he was just kind of arrogant and a jerk, blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And some of us mods got to talking to him. We decided not to just let him go. We decided to talk to him and kind of show women what betas actually look like, how they do things. One of the things betas do, and and emotional abusers do, is they gaslight. And one part of our conversation, he's talking, and then he's somehow telling us that, well, you're putting words in my mouth, and you really don't know what I'm saying, and I'm not really saying that, when it's obvious that's what he's saying, and he's somehow trying to convince us that he's not. Gaslighting comes from a movie called Gaslight, starring Ingrid Bergman and Charles Boyer. It's a good movie. You should watch it to kind of see how the concept came about and stuff. And it's about a gentleman who is trying to who is trying to look for a treasure in this woman's house. He marries her. He can't just kind of go in and find it. He marries her in the hopes of finding it, but he has to do things to kind of get her off. So he does little things to make her think she's crazy. And so he does things, he says things, he moves things around and things like that to convince her that somehow she's off for rocker and stuff. And that's kind of what gaslighting is. I'm going to read the definition from my book, The Emotionally Abusive Relationship, by Beverly Engel. And this is a really good book if you want to know if you're being emotionally abused, if you've been in an emotionally abusive relationship. Gaslighting. The term comes from the classic movie Gaslight, in which a husband uses a variety of insidious techniques to make his wife doubt her perceptions, her memory, and her very sanity. A partner who does this may continually deny that certain events occurred or that he or she said something you both know was said, or he or she may insinuate that you are exaggerating or lying. In this way, the abusive person may be trying to gain control over you to avoid taking responsibility for his or her actions. This is one of the forms of emotional abuse that is done very consciously and deliberately. If it's sometimes used by those who need to discredit their partner in order to get access to his or her money, in order to turn others against him or her, or as a way to justify their own inappropriate, cruel, or abusive behavior. In the movie, the husband needed to make his wife and others think she was insane in order to get access to her money. That is gaslighting. That's how it works. And the reason I'm saying it's so subtle is because it's not like when people gaslight, they scream or they holler or they shout or they argue. They just kind of disagree with you. And the thing about gaslighting is my ex-husband was an expert at gaslighting. I'd never seen anybody that did gaslighting better than he did. And what he would do is he would say things, and then I would bring them up later, and then he would go, "No, I didn't say that." And I would sit there and I would think, "I like, yeah, you did. No, I didn't. I didn't say that. Yes, you said it. No, no, you heard wrong. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say anything." And then he would say something else. He would somehow turn the conversation around to say that he said something else. No, that's not what I said. No, no, you heard wrong. You heard wrong. Or, no, that's not what I did. No, you didn't see that. Or, or he would call me a lie. I was at moments I would be like, "Oh my God, am I crazy? Did I not see that?" I would literally be I would be questioning my own memory and my own, and really, as they said, my own perception of what happened, because I couldn't. And he would be so persistent in his lying about what he did do. He would never give up. He would never stop lying. He would never finally say, "Oh well, yeah, I did." No, no, he would keep going. He would be really persistent in his insistence that I hadn't seen what I'd seen or heard what I'd heard, until finally it would just kind of wear me down. And then I would be like, "Okay, well, maybe I didn't see that, or maybe that didn't happen." It happened quite a bit. It happened quite a bit. He would do that quite a bit. And it had come to the point where I was just, I was so not really sure whether or not what I was hearing or what he was saying. Would I at some point would I come back and say something, and then he would be like, "No, no, I didn't say that. No, no, I didn't say that. I didn't do that." And stuff. I'd have to figure out ways to have to prove my point, and stuff, or have evidence of what he may have said or done. Even then, he would insist that what I'd seen or heard wasn't actually what had actually happened. The thing I find so disturbing about gaslighting is right. It's deliberate. It's always deliberate. It's very deliberate, and they consciously do that to you to kind of have you off kilter, so you're not really sure what's going on. um it's something that is so subtle, and so it's just like I say, it's quiet, it's not shouting, it's not fussing, it's not fighting, it's not arguing. It's very quiet. They're very easy about telling you that lie. Um, and with most emotional abusers and people that are narcissists and sociopaths, they have no, they have no, they have no problem lying. They are unconscionable. Really, they have no issue lying at all. None. It does not matter to them. I think in a way they believe their own lies, so it's okay for them to lie, and stuff because I think they actually believe it's true. But they have no issue lying, and they will lie to you just as soon as look at you. Lie to you continuously, and so unless you know what's going on, unless you see it, and remember, emotional abuse is a pattern. It happens consistently and clearly. So after I got out of the marriage and started thinking back on things that had happened, it came to me that there had been a pattern all throughout my marriage of gaslighting, along with other emotional abuse. But there had been a pattern of gaslighting that had gone on for a long, long time. And I was just, and and after I figured it out, I was like, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I'd heard what he said, but he did those things, and he would make things up, and he would tell things to people that I knew or family members, that would be different from what I had done. He would make up stories about, me. He would gaslight them, because that's something they do with everybody. It's not just something they do with you as a partner. They do that with everybody. So he would try to gaslight them after we had broken up to make me look bad, and stuff, and would tell them stuff and tell them stories. And I would sometimes have to come back and tell people, that did not happen, and stuff. But gaslighting is so insidious. It is. It's so diabolical. It's just so evil to me to gaslight somebody. It's just it has to be to me the just just one of the most evil things that you can do, because you're messing with people's minds. You're trying to mess with their brains. You're trying to mess with their perceptions. You're trying to mess with their reality, and stuff. And it's so evil. And I want people to know what gaslighting is and what it looks like. So if you find yourself in a relationship with someone and they're continuously gaslighting you and they're continuously trying to make you question your own perception of what has happened, when you know something happened, when you're so sure, and I mean, and it's not like he would wait weeks to do this. It's not like he'd wait a long time. Something would happen, and then maybe a week later I would mention something and he would start to gaslight me and stuff. It's not like he would wait for my memory to get bad. He would wait. It would be a few days, and he would do it. He would just do it and stuff. And so it's not like they're waiting around for you to kind of forget or for other things to happen. No, they'll do it immediately. They'll do it. You could talk to somebody early in the day, and later on in the day, if they're a true person that is a gaslighter, later on in the day, they will try to gaslight you. Such as a conversation that we had as mods with this guy on Beyond Black and White. Two posts up, he had said something. Two posts down, he tried to gaslight us. It was that fast, Um, they don't wait around. They do that immediately. So you have to be aware of what's going on and what's happening, before you become a victim. Because like I say, they do it really nicely. They're not mean about it. They don't scream and shout. It's not like people are hollering. When you watch the movie Gaslight with Charles Boyer, he's just as charming and just as charming lying to her and having her thinking that something is wrong with her and that she doesn't know what's going on. It's not an aggressive form of emotional abuse. It's not. It is very subtle. And if you don't know what it is or you don't know what it looks like, you can certainly become a victim. So, I would recommend, any information you can get, regarding it. I really would recommend that you watch the movie. It's just, in fact, it's a good movie. But it really is something for you to, if you think you're in something and you're thinking, this has happened to me. Somebody told me, and people will gaslight you all over the place. People will try to gas. People are emotional abusers do that everywhere. So people will try to gaslight you at work and all kinds of stuff. So you have to be aware of that. Know that what you saw and what you heard is actually what you saw and what you heard. Don't doubt yourself. Know that, yeah, what I saw and what I heard is what I saw and what I heard. Because the thing is, they try to somehow put it back on you. That's part of it, is to put it back on you and make you think that you're somehow crazy, or you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know what you're talking about. Know that what you saw and what you heard is actually what you saw and what you heard. Don't doubt it, and don't let other people try to convince you to doubt it. Gaslighting happens. It exists, and it happens all the time in every walk of life, and stuff. But this is specifically for people who may be in relationships, or who are going into relationships, who want to avoid emotional abusers. So that's my tips on gaslighting. I'll be back with another part in our series called Know Your Emotional Abuser. I'll be talking about my next blog will be talking about domination. Okay, bye, you guys.